We're here with Steve Pezman and Herbie Fletcher, two of the stars of Five Summer Stories. Guys, how's it after all these years being back and coming to see this film?
Well, I think it's fantastic to get to check out the lifestyle, which Greg did really well, and Jim. But you get to see the surfing and how the boards were getting shorter in those days, because they'd gotten short in 68, 69. But by the 70s, they were getting refined. And they're so refined now, but in those days, we're all scientists making boards at night and surfing them during the day, trying new things, really going for it. And so you could see that in Five Summer Stories.
That was good, Herbie.
Did you like that?
Hey, all I know is that when I walked up and I looked at everyone in line, it was the same people I saw 40 years ago in line, and it frightened me.
You're here.
Well, but what's kind of interesting, Greg is kind of focused on what it's like now versus then, or what it was like then versus now. But another thing to think about is what it was like 5 years before they made Five Summer Stories, because it was longboards. It was kind of a relic of the 50s and the 40s, still in effect. Then all of a sudden in the late 60s and into the 70s, it went through a complete new age, free mind, free love, and freedom on the wave because of shorter boards, more spontaneous. So it was all a big adventure. No one knew what was possible, and they were all finding out. It was really incredibly exciting.
No leashes. There was no leashes.
I heard that earlier. Greg was telling us about that. That's quite interesting. So you had to go chase your board quite a bit.
Well, you learned how to swim really good and body surf to the beach, and you can see some of that going on in this movie too.
Leashes were really the curse, because it kept the lineup crowded. Whereas if you wiped out, then you swam in and you paid your dues, and kicking out was an art in itself that's kind of disappeared now, because now they just dive off, so part of the art form disappeared with the advent of the leash, although there is some safety features.
So tell me, you're here to see the film again. How long has it been since you've seen the film?
Well, I just saw the film. I play surf movies at my place, and so I have them go for like a week or 2 weeks in slow motion. Every time you look up, you see a different little part of the film. But yeah, super slow motion. That way you can see exactly what the surfer's doing and how he plants his rail and uses his fin. And like you were saying, the kickouts were great, but there were a lot of flyaways in those days. And if you could kick your board really far, it was really great, because you'd see it spinning and going with the offshore winds. But it got out of the lineup, so you could swim to it instead of having the next wave catch it, and you'd be swimming to the beach.
He's really spiritual, isn't he?
He is, very much so. I like it.
Always impressed me.
So tell me real quick, what was it like working with Greg?
Well, I was never in that film, but I was the publisher of Surfer Magazine when that film came out, and I had an image of Greg from a distance, because I went to his films and we knew each other, but we weren't buddies. And so my image of him was this really intelligent guy that was hardcore and was putting a different spin on films. He was doing something different with the messages he was making. And it was really exciting, and people were excited by them.
Greg was on the edge. He was on the cutting edge of what was going on with culture and film, and the music that he played with it. Everything was pretty cutting edge what he did, and he taught me a lot about surf movies or movies in general. And his partner Jim taught me a lot about cameras, just looking at them, but being in the front and being in the lineup. And I lived with him in the 60s, in 66 and a little bit of 67, and it was really a fantastic time, because I learned a lot, and I'm still doing the same thing. Surfing, making movies, and making stuff for surfboards and making surfboards.
Staying out of trouble.
Staying out of trouble and doing a lot of art now.
Excellent, guys. Well, thank you so much for coming out. It was a pleasure.
Hey, thank you. Yeah.